Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Before I begin, I just wanted to mention to you that I think I've got Vince Hudok's number on speed dial on my phone that we've had to use from time to time, but certainly a compliment to him that, you know, during terrible disasters in our area, in my area, he's been very responsive, very responsible, and we certainly look to him for a lot of networking and help. So I do want to give a good compliment. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you. We understand that he's the first call when they want to know whether the legislature is going to be in because of bad weather. So,
absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we have a groundbreaking probably coming up in Bloomsburg in Columbia County within the next month to construct a flood wall. Mm-hmm. Years ago, after the 72 and 75 floods and floods that came after that, it always highlights the need for a flood wall. And then when you don't have a flooding event in a couple of years, that interest kind of wanes. It doesn't mean that there's not ongoing efforts to do something of this, but it always seems that when there is a flooding situation, money becomes available from some source that highlights the need to make some improvements. So the bottom line, we're going to be doing a groundbreaking that will protect a couple of major employers in the Bloomsburg area. But our work isn't done. Our goal, of course, is to protect the lower end of that community that had just terrible devastation in the flood. One of the things that was a contributor to it, and a lot of homes were acquired through the hazard mitigation funding, but one of the things that really contributed to it was gravel barring in Fishing Creek. And over a period of time, there's always been a discussion about the hydraulics of water and the benefit of taking a gravel bar out. My line of thinking, if you've got an obstruction, which I think a gravel bar is with mature vegetation, it forces the same amount of water in two directions rather than a wide opening in one direction. And that situation led to the devastation and ultimate removal of about a dozen homes, where it jumped over the bank of the creek and just wiped out these homes. And I've been trying for a number of years, especially since the 2011 flood, to remove this gravel bar in particular and a couple others. Worked with your agency and FEMA, DEP very successfully to incorporate this removal with other ongoing projects. The Army Corps of Engineers has been more of a hindrance than a help, really. And the difference between working with your agencies and theirs is paperwork that would probably fill this room. If you remove over 200 feet plus, then the volume of paperwork is astronomical. So what we've been doing is trying to remove 199 feet at a time. And I would like you to please consider keeping dollars available for gravel bar removal. And again, what it does, mature vegetation, you never know what's going to float down during high water. Could be a camper, could be a mobile home. Gets caught up in that mature vegetation and it acts as a dam, and then that causes a lot of problems. So I'm a firm believer that if we can remove the gravel bars, will they come back? Sure they will. But trees don't mature overnight either. And if we can keep up with it, I think we can prevent long-term damage. Now my question. I wanted to ask you, a couple of years ago, the Biggert Waters Act resulted, or supposedly was going to result in some tremendous increases in flood insurance. We all understand the necessity of having flood insurance. You touched on repetitive loss properties. I think that any of us that are in a flood area have properties or communities that are in it understand that when help comes from the government, the money has to come from somewhere, and sometimes there's a need to increase it. However, I think everybody was really quite shocked when the onset of this introduction of this program and these premiums were just astronomical. So my question to you is, can you give us an update on that program?
I understand that the actual bill was repealed, but and so that's the good news side of the house. But I do understand that obviously the flood insurance rates have gone up. And again, PEMA doesn't manage that program, obviously. But two things: one, I need to get better informed on that program. And again, because it's not PEMA's program, I'm going to work with the secretary and get a better handle on it. I will be up at the Bloomsburg event for you, sir.
Great, wonderful.
But I'd like to be able to sit down with you and talk to you a little bit more about the Corps and the challenges you've had with them. I have a meeting scheduled with the Corps commanders, all three of them, and I'd like to be able to share your concerns with them and see what we could do to cut bureaucracy.
Well, I'd be happy to do that, and I look forward to that meeting. And is our understanding also that was repealed. However, we figured that you're probably closer to any activity that might occur there. That's why I'm trying to get...
and I apologize. I just haven't been brought up to speed on the details associated with that because it's not my program, but I will be, in fact, be engaged with the secretary, and I will get information for you.
Very good. I look forward to that, and certainly want to welcome my former colleague here as well, although I have no questions for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.